All right, everybody. So one of the really important things in math is being able to translate from English to math. That way you're actually, because once you've got an equation, then you're able to do something with it more easily, especially if it's more complicated. Okay, so the statement is the product of Chow's savings and two is 30. And of course, that's exactly the way people talk normally. So product means multiplication. The product of his savings, they say use the variable C to represent his savings. Okay, so the product of his savings and two is means equals, and then the 30. And most people, if you want to be cool, you're going to just write it like that, but, whatever. Let's see how Alex does it. Okay, yeah, they wanted to be cool like me, and that was probably exactly what they were thinking. So make sure you know what everything means. Product, that means multiplication. Is means equals. Quotient means division. Difference means subtraction. Sum, as in SUM, that means addition. Okay, wait, that's not what I wanted. Hang on. All right, I think this will do it. Okay, so now we're doing translating again, but it's going to be written just a little differently because it's technically a different topic. So it says the sum. All right, so we're adding things together of what? Nine times a number and four. So and is what connects the two things that are being added or summed. So 9 times a number, and they say use W for the number, and 4 is equal to, or they could have, like on the last one, just said is means equals 5. Okay. And then, eventually we will say, oh, hey, now we've got an equation. Now let's solve it. We'll subtract 4 from both sides. And again, this is something I'm doing right here. And then divide both sides by 9. And W equals 1/9. Okay, anyway, but that would be how you would set it up. And on this, that's all I'm looking for right there. Okay, so why is why is it so important to be able to translate from English to math? Well, like I said before, because if you've got a word problem that you actually have to solve, it might be useful. Okay, so it says a washer and a dryer cost $750 combined. So it might be like 400 and 350. That's 750. Or it might be 100 and 650. Not likely at all, but it would add up to 750. The cost of the washer is 2 times the cost of the dryer. What is the cost of the dryer? Okay. Okay, so, well, we know that the washer and the dryer added together is 750 bucks. Okay. We also know that the washer is 2 times the cost of the dryer. So washer is 2 times the cost of the dryer. Oh, so what this means right here is that any place I see a W, I can replace it with a 2D or vice versa. Because it says that they're equal in this problem. They're the exact same thing in this problem. So W's can always in this problem be replaced by 2D. Well, I'll replace this W right here with 2D. Now I have an equation with just a single variable, and that is a good thing because 2D plus 1D, they're like terms, makes 3D. And what are you guys going to play? Okay. And then I could say, well, okay, what's being done to the variable D? It's being multiplied by 3. Oh, let's divide by 3 because that's the opposite. So I'll do it to both sides so that the two sides stay in balance. And I get D is 250. Now what did D stand for? D was the dryer. W was the washer. And they said, what's the cost of the dryer? Oh, okay, so we found it. And of course, numbers don't mean much without units, so I'll put in the dollar sign there. So $250 dryer, that means that the washer had to be $500, so it adds up to 750. Washers do tend to cost more. There's usually more moving parts and stuff. But anyway, so that would be how you do it. And so this would be a really good one to practice and things like it. All right, so now we're back to fractions because it's fun. All right, I'm going to write it over here. Whoops, that's better write it correctly. So some number plus 4/5, like 4/5 of a cup of sugar, is equal to negative 1/2 of a cup of sugar. All right. Well, if this was like u plus 2 equals 3, I think we could all agree that you'd say, well, subtract 2 because that's the opposite of adding 2. And then you'd end up with u equals 1. So, well, we're not adding 2, we're adding 4/5. So we're not going to subtract 2, we're going to subtract 4/5 from both sides. And those will cancel just like the 2's would, and we'll just get u on the left side. Now on the right, we're going to have negative 1/2 minus 4/5. Now these are fractions, and when you add or subtract fractions, you have to have common denominators, which we don't currently have. But the common denominator is going to be 10, the least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the first one by 5/5, the second by 2/2. You can see how it's really handy to be good with fractions. As you're doing math. Plus, you live probably in America where we love fractions. I mean, everybody loves fractions. Again, the 9/16 wrench, the 5/8 inch wrench, the 17/32 socket, and things like that. All right, so we've got all that fun stuff there. So we've got u equal, a little messy even by my standards, negative 10, nope, negative 5/10 minus, oh, my neighbor is home, minus 8/10, which will be negative 13/10. And that's probably as far as they want me to go. Yeah, they're not looking for a mixed number. So yeah, there it is. All right. So once again, we've got another equation here. And I'm going to write it down over on the side bigger so it's easier for me to work on. Okay. So we have a couple of different choices here. What we might do first? We could just say, you know what, 4 is being divided into both of these guys. Let's just do that and write negative 47/4 plus x/4 and just divide it into both. We could do it that way, and that would be fine. There'd be nothing wrong with that. Another way to do it would be to say, I'm just going to multiply both sides by 4 because the variable is being divided by 4. The opposite of that is multiplying by 4. And in that way, these 4's cancel. Oh, and I get negative 47 plus x equals negative 24. And I know that it goes against your wishes, but there were no fractions there. Sorry about that. So then I would add 47 to both sides because minus 47 plus 47 is 0. And so we get x equals, what is that, 23-ish? Okay. And that's it. So you can do either method you like. They're both going to work just fine. Sometimes one method is, might be preferable over another, I guess. But yeah, they're both good. This is the way I like, the way I did it this time, and I did not end up with any fractions this time. Sometimes, of course, you're going to get fractions no matter what. All right, now let's take a look at this little piggy. Okay, so we've got a number multiplied by the variable, number added to the variable. We've learned in the past, we're going to handle this guy first, add it. So, whoops, so I'm going to subtract 1/7 from both sides. And, ooh, I probably should have left more room. Oh, well. Okay, so then we've got negative 2/3 minus 1/7. They don't have common denominators, so I will go get common denominators. Well, the least common denominator is going to be 21. So I'll multiply the first fraction by 7 over 7 and the second by 3 over 3. And yippee skippy, we're going to have negative 14/21 minus 3/21. And notice I write the entire equation out every time. It makes it easier to keep track of what's going on. All right, so I still haven't done much with the left side. Okay, so these two guys, I combine them, I get negative 17/21. And there we go. Okay, now, so everything over here on the right side is simplified. Now it's time to tackle this -1/2. Well, guess what? It's being multiplied by the W. So we're going to do the opposite of multiplying by W, or the opposite of multiplying by -1/2 is dividing by -1/2. But you know what? I don't like dividing by fractions. After all, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay. So swing, swing, they cancel. And a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, again, negative times negative is a positive, so the signs are gone. This 2 isn't going to cancel with anything in there because 2 doesn't divide into 21. So 2 times 17 is 34, and 21 times 1 is 21. And that is it. So good thing to practice. Okay, one more topic here. Let's see what we got here. Let me just write it up here. 5u over 8 minus 2 is, whoa, okay, so what's significantly different about this one is that the variable appears in more than one place. Now, if the variable, if the two variables were on the same side, we could just combine them right away, probably. But they're on different sides. So we got to get them together. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we could just subtract 5u over 8 from both sides, because if I'm going to move that u, I have to move everything in that term. I can't just do the u. I have to take the entire term. Okay, it's kind of like saying, well, I want to be a social worker. Well, part of what goes into that is you have to take math and literature and these things that you're not going to use every day in your job, but you take it as a package deal. Okay, so 5u over 8 minus 5u over 8 is 0, so we're left with a -2 on the left, and on the right we have 7u over 12 minus 5u over 8. Oh, look at that. We're subtracting and we don't have common denominators. So we got to get a common denominator. Looks like 24 will do just fine. So I'll multiply the first one, whoops, by 2 over 2 and the second by 3 over 3. So that we get 14u over 24 minus 15u over 24. And now I have common denominators, so I can combine them. 14u's minus 15u's would be -1u. I think we can all agree that this is not done. But we can also agree it's more simplified than it was and has been so far. All right, we're going to go over here to the left a little. I've got more room. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Well, remember, if you've got a negative sign in a fraction, that negative sign can be on the top. Whoa, what am I doing? That was weird. Okay, maybe this is the right button I'm looking for. No, it's not. Okay, whatever. It can be on the top, or it can be whoops, I got to click on that. Or it can be out in front, or it can be on the bottom. I'm just going to pretend it's on the bottom, and then I'll say, hey, u is being divided by -24, so I'll do the opposite. I'll multiply by -20. guess I don't really need to. Oh, yeah. So those are going to cancel, and we're going to get a u on the right. And on the left, negative 24 times negative 2 is positive 48. And that's the way I do it now. I like it. Yeah.